welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a seriously fascinating case study all about physical and mental transformation. But before we really get into the weeds of this specific story, I want to kick things off by having you think about a pretty profound question regarding the burdens we carry around every single day. Because honestly, it's a question that completely frames the whole journey we're looking at today. So, what is the heaviest weight you can actually carry? Well, according to the story we're diving into, it isn't actually found on a barbell in your local gym. It's not made of iron or steel. The absolute heaviest weight is actually that invisible burden we carry on our bodies, day in and day out. It's the weight of low self-esteem, those frustrating daily physical struggles, and the super heavy emotional toll of just feeling totally stuck in your own skin. Section 1. The heaviest weight. Let me introduce you to the focus of today's case study. His name is Arjun, a 24-year-old who felt completely and utterly trapped in this totally exhausting cycle. You know the one. Failed diets, grueling gym sessions that just never seemed to actually do anything. He was starting his journey at 110 kilograms, and the case study notes how Arjun silently endured a lot of mockery. People would literally make fun of him, but only he truly understood the internal pain of it all. I mean, he tried every diet, hit every gym, but he just kept hitting a massive wall. And the reason? His own slow metabolism was constantly working against all of his best efforts. He was basically fighting a losing battle where his own physiology was the enemy. That brings us to Section 2, the metabolism struggle. So, despite all those past failures, Arjun made this rock-solid decision that this time he wasn't going to quit. He was going to break the cycle no matter what it took. But man, his first 15 days, the source material literally describes it as 15 days of hell. Because look at the contrast here. On one hand, you have massive physical input, gym sweat, intense dieting, extreme physical effort. But on the flip side, the results were agonizing. Severe leg pain, crazy intense cravings for junk food, and the absolute worst part, zero weight loss. The scale just would not budge. It's a perfect picture of that deep frustration when you hit a total metabolic wall. You're putting in maximum external effort and getting absolutely nothing in return. Okay, so right when Arjun is totally exhausted and beyond frustrated, he asks his trainer why nothing is working. And his trainer drops this absolute pivot point of a quote. Arjun, hard work on the outside isn't enough. Sometimes you have to smartly activate the internal machine. This is a massive paradigm shift in the story. It establishes this whole premise that sheer external physical effort has got to be matched by internal physiological alignment. Because if that internal machine, your metabolism, is just asleep at the wheel, all the sweat in the world isn't going to cut it. Section 3. The smart transformation. Now here's where the narrative completely shifts focus from the core problem to a really specific solution. It's all about how Arjun stopped just relying on brute force and instead used a strategic integration to bypass that metabolic barrier. The source calls this approach smart support and specifically mentions the strategic use of a supplement called Mytalin. Now, what's crucial to point out here is that the source doesn't pitch this as some magic wand, right? It's not a miracle cure that magically does the work for you while you sit on the couch. Instead, they call it a power partner. It's this critical catalyst that's meant to work intelligently alongside a clean diet and a hardcore workout routine. The goal is to give a stalled metabolism the exact kickstart it desperately needs to push the body into a natural fat-burning mode. And the results of making this smart integration, well, they were gradual, but totally undeniable. Arjun actually started noticing his clothes getting noticeably looser. Plus, his energy levels were just absolutely soaring. The big takeaway here is that by activating that internal engine with smart support, his body was finally able to enter a fat-burning state without causing all that miserable physical weakness that usually tags along with heavy dieting. Finally, the internal and external efforts were actually playing on the same team. Moving right along to Section 4, 100 days later. So let's fast forward in time a bit to the climax of this whole incredible journey. We've talked about the struggle, we've broken down the strategy, and now it's time to check out the ultimate results. Looking at his progress chronologically, day 1 was pretty much pure despair, sitting at 110 kilograms and feeling totally hopeless. Day 15 was the absolute peak of the struggle, putting in the work for 0 results. But by day 100, the metamorphosis was fully complete. When Arjun looked in the mirror 100 days in, that old version of himself was entirely gone. It's just this incredibly stark contrast between where he started in total despair and his ultimate hard-won victory. But honestly, this wasn't just about dropping kilos. Arjun got a massive psychological boost out of this. He didn't just shed physical weight, he flat out defeated fear and laziness. The case study really goes out of its way to emphasize that he conquered those deep internal barriers to come out the other side not just physically fit, but incredibly confident and fiercely disciplined. He literally transformed his mind just as much as his body. And finally, Section 5, the final takeaways. So, synthesizing the core mechanics of Arjun's success, what is the actual blueprint we can take away from this? Well, the text credits this highly specific 4-part formula for turning what felt like an impossible task into reality. Step 1, sweat and effort. I mean, you still have to put in the hard work, there's no way around it. Step 2, the right mindset, actually defeating that internal fear and laziness. Step 3, a clean diet. You gotta fuel the body correctly. And step 4, smart supplements. The source specifically cites Middelin as the power partner that brings the whole shebang together. It's this exact combination, all working in perfect harmony, that the source points to as the ultimate key to true transformation. Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative thought. If Arjun could overcome his metabolic walls and internal fears, why not you? Look, the journey is tough, for sure, but it's clearly not impossible. It's really all about choosing the right support system. So taking everything we just talked about in, when does your transformation start? Seriously, think about what your power partners need to be to get you exactly where you want to go. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.